Joe Piscopo is next on AM970. The Answer.
Jersey Joe on the radio, 8 minutes after 6 o'clock. Jessica Rosenthal, kind enough to join us. She's the correspondent for Fox News Radio, live from Las Vegas. Jessica, you are so kind to call us this morning. I can't imagine what your day was like yesterday. Can you fill us in exactly where we are on this horrible tragedy, Jessica?
I think right now it sounds like where we are is still trying to figure out the motive here. I know we don't, I appreciate what you just said, that you don't really want to mention the person's name. So in honor of that, I won't either.
Oh, thank you. This
person that committed this crime, this 64-year-old man, it does sound like people are really confused. His neighbors who knew him over the years, his brother, the commentary from people who've run into him over the years, there's just no indication. And further, no real criminal record to speak of. The guy owned real estate, was a former accountant, loved to gamble. So I think police are going through as much evidence as they can find in two houses located in Nevada to try and find any indication of why. They say they found 19 guns in the hotel room, or 23 guns in the hotel room in the Mandalay Bay suite, and another 19 guns in his home. And I guess the sheriff also said they found ammonium nitrate in his vehicle.
I didn't even hear that. Jessica, how do you get that into the hotel? There's security all over. You could break these guns down so much before you're bringing in all those weapons,
A lot of people have actually talked about this, and I think it's really important to talk about because you've been to Vegas. We've all been to Vegas. A lot of people listening have been to Vegas.
Yep.
You roll up to your hotel. It's massive. There's tons of people around every hotel, especially if there's a casino in there. And I don't know about you, but forget Vegas. Go to any hotel in this country. You can take anything you want from your car into your hotel room. Yeah, if you get on an airplane, you have to get screened. But if you drive from your home to a hotel room, who's going to stop you? Who's going to stop you from bringing 4 large bags into your hotel room? No one. No one's going to stop you unless you do something really obvious that's very suspicious. So that's one thing. I think we need to be honest about how we work. How this country works, how we work as people.
Yeah.
There's no TSA screener at your hotel room. Second of all, I've heard some complaints from people, not you. So I don't want to come across as anything, but I've heard some complaints from people on social media about how he was able to go on this, shooting spree that lasted for what seemed like several minutes.
Yeah.
Where was even hotel security on this? So you have to remember, as I just said, we've all been to Vegas. How many rooms are in a hotel room in Vegas?
Yeah.
Hundreds?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you pinpoint the location of this one person? And once you do, you have to go floor by floor to get up there to make sure it's safe, because you can't. You're a group of police officers. You can't get in an elevator, press floor 32, and ding, you're there. That's not safe.
I know.
You have to clear. You have to clear as you go up. So it's a painstaking process.
You're right. And, Jessica Rosenthal with Joe Piscopo. Jessica's one of the great correspondents over at Fox News Radio, kind enough to join us this early in the morning. It's 11 minutes after 6 o'clock East Coast time. And, Jessica, your point is well taken. I thought the Las Vegas, all law enforcement, how they got to this creep so quickly. I thought they got to him quickly because they saw, I think, the smoke and the fire coming off. But let me just break down, if I may, Jessica, because I want to hear your trip going into Vegas. Last time we chatted, you were approaching the scene, and I want to hear that. But fact-wise, there are no ties with any militant terrorist groups with this guy.
It certainly doesn't sound like it. I mean, ISIS has claimed responsibility. That, according to Department of Homeland Security and FBI and other officials here, is not accurate. Or at the very least, haven't found anything they say at this stage that indicates that that's accurate. The Islamic State has made claims before, like, I don't know if you remember that casino shooting in Manila in the Philippines.
Yep.
I don't know if it was Manila. I'm not sure if it was Manila, but it was near Manila. It was in the Philippines. And they claimed responsibility for that. It couldn't have been further from a terrorist attack. It was completely not even related to that. So we have to take. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we have to take ISIS with some skepticism here.
Yeah, you're right, though.
Yeah, so we have to wait for FBI and Homeland Security to say, listen, and Las Vegas police to say, listen, this is what we found.
It's still true. Did your brother, and I don't want to keep you too long. I know how you're being pulled every which way out there, Jessica, but the brother, it looked so, the guy came out, it was just something curious about this whole thing. I cannot put my finger on it.
Yeah.
But the brother was like, so, well, we don't know. I don't know that do we believe this guy? I mean, I'm leaning on your journalistic instincts, Jessica, you know?
He said you could throw an asteroid at me and it would feel the same. Like, this is bizarre. He knew his brother. He's like, his brother didn't care about politics, religion. All he cared about was a royal flush.
Yeah,
I mean,
big gambler. Yeah, and was it true that the father of this cockroach, forgive me, was once on the FBI's 10 most wanted list?
It's true. And back in the early 70s,
wow.
He was a bank robber, and
wow.
And he ended up on the FBI's most wanted list, I think, for nearly a decade.
Yeah. Well, and we are for sure the gunman took his own life. That we're positive about that fact.
The Las Vegas police. I mean, you're never positive, right? I mean, because we don't know, we weren't there, so I'm always skeptical. But the law enforcement guys that responded said, look, when we finally did get into that room, when we blew off the door, the guy was dead. So I mean, that's all we. Yeah. They opened fire. SWAT. Yeah. My understanding is SWAT did use their weapons, but the sheriff said there was no return fire. This guy didn't fire back.
Jessica, so tell us your day before we let you go, and thank you so much, Jessica Rosenthal with Piscopo on the radio, 14 after 6. So you were going into the scene as we chatted. You were kind enough to call us early yesterday when this first broke. So you get to Vegas. Could you quickly just give us a breakdown of what your day was like?
Well, getting into the area was difficult, as you can imagine, because they've got a scene with multiple dead bodies. So getting close to that after police had secured the scene was very difficult. We ended up at University Medical Center, where most of the critically injured victims had been taken, because UMC has the only level 1 trauma center in Las Vegas. At some point, I ended up interviewing a retired law enforcement official who sort of weighed in on the lack of security at hotels, expressing your concern really from earlier in our conversation.
Yep.
And then UMC brought out several trauma surgeons who talked about saving lives and the carnage, and having 8 or 9 ORs, operating all at the same time, just one after the other victim. At one point, I ended up going to a different hospital and speaking with a man whose wife was shot in the face.
Good God.
And he told me how he found out that she'd been shot and how he located her and how she couldn't speak before she had surgery, but tapped into his hand, I love you. And then spoke to a comedian who told me that he's now the resident comic at the Stratosphere, and he told me that he'd gotten a bunch of calls from other entertainers and show business folks here in Vegas who put on shows, producers, who all agreed that the show was going to go on, and they were all going to hold their shows last night.
Amazing. Jessica, we so appreciate you joining us. Keep us posted if you'd be so kind to do that, but we appreciate you jumping on the air with us, and let's talk soon. And, it's a terrible situation out there, so we're wishing you all the very best.
If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer. Joe Piscopo is next on AM 970. The Answer.
Good morning, Trinitas. We love you. And we love you for listening. Piscopo in the morning on AM 970 The Answer, AM970TheAnswer.com around these fine United States of America. And Frankie Five Boroughs is here, Albert is here, and Debbie is here. So I talked to my gal that runs everything in my life, Mama Mo, who puts everything together. She's got a buddy that was out in Vegas and was in the exact spot where this horrific tragedy unfolded. Paul Wagner, president of ProFruit. This is an ingredient distributor for food manufacturing. Hey, Paul, thanks for joining us this morning, man. You're very kind to jump on the airwaves. You just got back from Vegas, Paul, correct?
Yeah, I got back Saturday night, Joe.
Wow, man. And Mo said you were there, and I said I wanted to just get a firsthand account. You were right where this Aldine concert was, correct?
Well, my room was on the 10th floor, Joe, at the Mandalay Bay.
Wow.
But apparently I had the same view as the shooter did. Saw them setting up the stage on Wednesday and Thursday. And, to think back on it now and what I could see from my room, it's still pretty unsettling.
Well, so you were right there. Hey, so you were in the suite. Did this guy have like a full suite? Because he had two windows. It looked like it was a huge suite, Paul.
Well, there were 2 windows in my room as well, Joe, but I'm not really sure what his room setup would have been upstairs, but it must have been big based on the firearms he apparently had with him.
Yeah, and then did you go down in that same? You went and saw a concert there, correct?
We walked over on Friday afternoon, Joe, when they were doing sound check.
Yeah.
A group of us walked over there just to see what was going on. There were a lot of people streaming in at that point already. I think the show started at 3. I think we had walked over around 2 o'clock.
Wow. So give us the proximity, because you see it on TV. I see the graphics. So the Mandalay Bay is right across the strip. So it looks like it's way far away. And how did this guy possibly get a weapon to hurt that many people? But it's pretty close in proximity, yes?
Well, it is, depending on where you are, because the Mandalay Bay kind of has 3 sections to it, and the one section reaches out pretty far toward the street, and then the concert venue is right across the street.
Wow.
I don't, maybe it was 1,000 feet away.
Well, so it is. It's very, very close. Good
It's
God.
pretty close, yeah.
Did you hear anything while you were there? Did you know what was going on?
No, not as far as the shooting or anything.
Because you were gone by that point, yes?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Very happy to have woken up in Pennsylvania
But
yesterday.
you just got out. I mean, you were just there. You got in the morning that this thing unfolded as you were out. How do you feel? I mean, what are you feeling? I mean, I know you feel fortunate, but
For sure.
boy, you just got out and you were right there and in the same venue. And what are your feelings today, Paul?
Well, again, Joe, especially yesterday, looking at all of the coverage on the news and seeing the same view that the shooter must have seen, and just thinking back on that.
Yeah, man.
Again, it's still just not easy to comprehend.
Yeah. Hey, did your bags get checked going into the hotel, if I may ask?
No, there's nothing like that at all.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens in the future. I mean, just like TSA, you know, we all get used to taking off our shoes now. I suppose at some point people will be checking bags or walking through metal detectors.
Yeah. Paul, you're kind to join us. Thanks, man. Wanted to get an overview of exactly what it was like there, and we appreciate it, Paul. And welcome home. And glad you're safe, man.
Thank you very much, Joe. Good to talk to you.
Okay, you too, Paul. There's Paul Wagner right there.
If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer. Joe Piscopo is next on AM 970. The Answer.
727 with Jersey Joe on the radio. Frankie Five Boroughs is here. Big Al standing by. Debbie's on the roads. You're very humble, ready for drive time players. Linda Stacy is a great columnist for the New York Daily News, author of this new novel, Book of Judas, which we're going to chat about. I hold it in my hand. And Linda, that's an Italian last name. It's an Italian name. And I want to say Stasi. But you're telling me you went to visit. You went to the old country, and they said.
I went to the old country.
And they
I
said.
went to Calabria.
And,
you know, first of all, I always thought my grandfather anglicized it, but like he was the most Italian man that ever lived. He was rooting for World War II. I mean, he was rooting for Mussolini in World War II. He had 2 sons in the American Army.
Isn't that scary? I know.
But he pronounced it Stacy. So I went to Calabria to find my family.
Yeah.
all said Stasi. So I have no idea.
You know,
no
interesting
idea.
because I always people will say to me, Joe Piscopo, if they don't know, or Piscopo. In Italy, they will say Piscopo. It's
Exactly.
interesting. Sometimes in some regions in Avellino, they'll go Piscopo. Piscopo. But sometimes you'll hear so Stacey it is because you can't
Stacey
argue
it
with
is.
the Calabrese.
I know.
You'll never win with
No,
the Calabrese.
I'm half Sicilian and half Calabrese.
Oh, you go think you're not stubborn. That's good.
No, it means I'll kill you and I'll still be pissed off.
Oh, man. You are bad, you know. And so we want to talk about a book of Judas. I am so this whole Las Vegas thing. We've been talking about it off air. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to say it. What do you say on the air? It's so unnecessary. Always when it's an Islamic terror situation, you can blame somebody. This, you never saw the red flags coming. You never knew what was going on. Just a horrible. But you had a great column about this yesterday.
You know, what drove me crazy is that all the TV anchors were saying nothing unusual. Well, what does that mean? Nothing unusual. It means that he's a white guy and he's not an Islamic terrorist. He's just a plain old white guy with a lot of guns. But what they really meant, what's really upsetting me, is that nothing unusual means nothing unusual about these mass shootings. There's more than one mass shooting a day in this country. And we're worried about people coming over the border. We're doing it to ourselves. They don't have to do it to us.
Yeah, you know, I wish I had an argument for you. What did you say about you said about the automatic weapons and everything? Because I'm pro Second Amendment. I think you should carry. I believe in all of that. But when you get a whack job like this, how do you stop that, right?
Well, I mean, there has to be, and I don't think when they put this frightening thing, they're going to take all your guns away. That's not what it's about. It's about banning assault weapons. Even Ronald Reagan wanted a ban on assault weapons. There's no reason for regular people to be walking around with semi-automatics and automatics that can, I mean, every time it's a new way to do it. This time the guy was on from 32 floors up. He was shooting people down like shooting human fish in a barrel. It was just horrific. There's no reason for that. You know, we had a much lower murder rate when we didn't have assault weapons.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, I think the argument is they're afraid the government's going to take your guns away, and then you're going to need some kind of weapon to fight whoever's going to try to take your guns away, take your house, take your family, take your food. So, I mean,
but they didn't take the guns away when Ronald Reagan was president.
Yeah.
He had an assault weapons ban. Nobody took your guns away.
877-970-2999 if you want to call in and weigh in on that for sure. So, this book, and thanks for, we just want to step away from this Vegas, and our hearts
So
go out. I
tragic.
can't even imagine.
I mean, every day. I feel like we're in Armageddon. Every day there's a new tragedy.
Yeah.
It's a hurricane. It's an earthquake. It's mass
Well, people
shootings,
say
it's
we have people
wars.
call on us believe it's biblical proportions.
It
What's
is
happening
biblical proportions.
now? And then
I've been here since Jesus was born. I'm so old. And I'm telling you, I never saw nothing like this.
I said one time Frankie Feinberg's idol, a guy named Joe Franklin, who was a New York City icon. He was in the audience, and I said, Joe Franklin's here. I said, he's interviewed everybody. He goes, my first interview was Moses. That was Joe Franklin's line, right?
It's true.
Well, no, you're not. You're a young lady, and I love the nail polish you got on. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Oh, gold glitter. Look at you, girl. Unbelievable. So tell us about the Book of Judas that you wrote.
Okay, so my books are kind of fed to me, and it's like after I wrote the first novel, The Sixth Station, which I traveled through 6 countries, traveled with an exorcist priest from the Vatican, stayed with monks. I stayed with this crazy cloistered nun, German, who hadn't spoken in 20 years, and then I had to kick her to get her out of my car.
Plugging your book. I'm photobombing with your book in the background. I'm sorry.
And I said, I'm never doing this again. So I'm laying in my house. We had this house in Atlantic Beach, and we had it for 12 years. And I look up, and there's this book on the shelf that I'd never seen called I, Judas by Taylor Caldwell. And I thought, what the heck is that? So I pull it down, and nobody in my house had bought it. It was a 45-year-old book. So a few days later, I'm in Princeton, New Jersey with my daughter, and because she's a pain in the butt, smarty pants, instead of just laying around getting manicured and stuff at the spa, she wanted to go to the Princeton bookstore. And there on the front table is reading The Gospel of Judas by Elaine Pagels. And I thought, well, that's 2 Judases in 3 days. I'm so going to hell.
It's a sign.
So going to hell. Then I start reading it, and it turns out this 2,000-year-old gospel was lost and found on the black market. Then it says it was found in Hicksville, Long Island. Well, damn, I grew up in Hicksville, Long Island. Then it gets weirder. It was found in the safety deposit box in my bank, from my parents' bank.
Wow.
So, how could I not write it? How
right.
could I not write it?
And
how could I not investigate it?
Book of Judas by Linda Stasi. Will the discovery of the missing pages of an ancient book mean the end of the world? Like we were just talking about.
I
right?
think they were found because it is the end of the world. We're in Armageddon right now.
It's so true. It's so true. Exactly what's happening.
I know.
Hey, we appreciate you being with us. Book of Judas, this is. And what was the last book that you? The last book
it was
you
called The Sixth Station. It was about the Veil of Veronica.
But you hung out with exorcist priests
Yes.
from the Vatican.
Yes. So
I should know this. I apologize.
Well, no.
I'm a diehard, guilt-ridden, church-going, God-fearing Italian Catholic.
There you go.
And so the exorcism, they really believe in that.
No, so I traveled with this priest who I knew, who is an exorcist for the Vatican, which kind of like the CIA. But what I said to him at one point, I said, "Do you really believe in exorcism?" And he said to me, "Well, if the kid comes from a really wealthy family, he's possessed, and if not, he's just a stupid drug addict."
The priest said that?
The priest said
Good.
that to me.
He wrote it down. Pragmatically speaking. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. This is good. Hey, Linda, the Book of Judas. I'm going to hold that up for you. There you go. Book of Judas right there from Linda Stasi. And if you want to just Google Linda Stasi, just like that, Stasi. I would have said Stasi for sure. But Stasi
It's not. I found my family in Calabria, and they say Stacy.
Thanks for getting up. You never get up this early, do you?
No.
You came up for old Joe. How did Morano talk you into it? How did Five Barrels talk you into it? Thank you.
Because I missed the calamari eating contest where I would have gained 650,000 pounds. Thank you very much.
That Frank had on his show.
Yeah. Not?
Linda, great. All the best with the book. Thanks for joining.
So
Thanks
much,
for getting
Joe.
up.
Thank you.
Frank's
Thank
got
you.
some calamari for you right after the show. We can do that. Sure.
If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.
7:35 with Jersey Joe on the radio. Big Al Gattulo standing by with the headline news on AM 970. The Answer.
News, opinion, passion. This is AM 970. The Answer.
57 degrees at 7:35. I'm Al Gattulo with local news first. Here's what's going on. New York City School Chancellor Carmen Farina says there will be a reinforcement at all city schools on how bullying is reported. Mayor de Blasio took questions Monday from parents concerned about bullying and school security. This comes after reports of a Bronx high school student being bullied before he allegedly stabbed another student to death last week. The mayor cautions the motive of the alleged murder is still under investigation. Chris Christie says new gun laws won't prevent future massacres like the one in Las Vegas that killed at least 59 people. New Jersey's chief executive, speaking on his radio program last night, says he feels terrible for the families affected. However, he says sometimes bad things happen, adding sometimes there's nothing we can do to stop it. Early in his political career, Christie supported a ban on assault weapons, but when he was running for president, he modified his position, saying victims of domestic violence or other violent crimes should be allowed to get gun permits. In sports, the Chiefs remain the only undefeated team in the NFL with a 29-20 win over the Redskins on Monday Night Football. And the Yankees will take on the Twins in the American League wild card game tonight in the Bronx. Luis Severino will start for the Bombers, while Irvin Santana is on the hill for Minnesota. Tonight's winner will advance to play the Cleveland Indians in the best-of-5 American League Division Series. The Tribe will host Game 1 of that series starting Thursday. Sports is sponsored by Rawlings Sporting Goods, the finest in the field. Visit Rawlings.com and receive free shipping on orders of $125 and higher. Stuck in traffic? Debbie Duhame's got the answer.
Hey, good morning, Al. The Hutch northbound Weaver Street getting up towards Scarsdale. Accident blocking a lane. Southbound thruway still slowing down as you head in toward the Tappan Zee Bridge. Watch out for some slowdowns on the Northern State West right into the LIE connector. Accident off on the shoulder. Traffic is still moving slowly on the westbound Gowanus. Stop-and-go traffic down by 39th Street with a disabled car. It's going to be stop-and-go for you as you head inbound over at the GWB. The inbound GWB 25, Lincoln 20, Holland 20. Traffic is still building as you head over to 80 westbound, getting out toward exit 59 in Patterson with a collision. And then on 80 west, exit 39 in Denville. It's an accident investigation. 2 lanes remain blocked over there. Truck Route 109 south at Broadway in Jersey City. Traffic light is down. And 78 west of the Garden State Parkway. Accident and a fuel spill. Sunny today, high of 71. You now know where not to go. I'm Debbie Duhame, AM 970, The Answer.
We all know the secret to the best Italian food is the sauce. And no one has sauce as good as Michael's of Brooklyn. Their sauce is made from scratch, using only the best ingredients. But don't take our word for it. Stop at any of your local supermarkets and pick up a jar, or listen to the Joe Piscopo Morning Show every Wednesday for a chance to win a whole case of Michael's delicious, authentic, and fresh sauce. You can also enter online at am970theanswer.com. That's am970theanswer.com. Good luck.
Are you a responsible person who finds yourself growing deeper and deeper in credit card debt and you're not sure how to fix the problem? Then get ready for a toll-free number that will put you on a path to financial recovery. Trinity Debt Management is a nonprofit organization that will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, put a stop to late fees and over-limit charges, and reduce your interest rates by as much as 60%. You'll save thousands and become debt-free for keeps. It's not a loan. It's a smart way to relieve your stress, meet your obligations, and preserve your self-respect. If your debt has you down, we should talk. Gather up your bills and call this toll-free number for a free, no-obligation debt analysis. 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976. If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
Amazing to realize, but it's been almost 2 years. I've been talking with you about Relief Factor, and I can tell you I've been continually inundated with testimonials. If you're struggling with ongoing back or neck pain, shoulder, hip, or knee pain, or general muscle pain, pains of any kind, do what tens of thousands of others have done so successfully. Go to ReliefFactor.com and order their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. 1-800-500-8384. That's 1-800-500-8384.
Joe Piscopo on the radio. It is 20 minutes before 8 o'clock. Arthur Idala is with us. And may I tell you about this business breakfast we got going on, this AM970 Business Networking Breakfast. It'll take place on the campus of Passaic County Community College in Wanacue, Thursday, October 19th. Steve Adebato is going to be leading a discussion on growing your business and breaking through the clutter of digital and traditional marketing. Isaac Radansky will be there, founder of Adventure Media, author of 3 best-selling courses on Google AdWords. Phil Van Horn from Blue Rock Energy, our buddy, man. We love Blue Rock Energy. Phil, Jeannie Zaino, who we love, a professor of political science at Iona College, frequent Fox contributor. Jeannie is a superstar. She will be with us. Gary Goldberg, if you have any financial advice that you want, Gary Goldberg will be there live and in person with his tab collar. See, I always wear a tab collar. I don't know. I got it from Neil Cavuto. So Mr. Cavuto, I like this tab collar. It reminds me of 1962. So all my shirts are a tab collar, and Gary Goldberg's the only other guy that wears a tab collar. Me, Neil, and Gary Goldberg. Gary's the founder and CEO of Gary Goldberg Financial Services, and you'll be able to talk with him up front and personal like that. 6 to 10 a.m., the boys will be here. Frankie Five Burrows will be here. Big Al's going to be there. Debbie Duhame. Do I have to say anything more than that? Also, catering by Dominic and DR Catering. This is going to be a great, great day, and we invite you to come on over to Passaic County Community College in Wanacue, October 19th on Thursday. Entry is free, but you got to register online, okay? Just go to am970theanswer.com.
Mike Gallagher, live from our Wall Street studios. Coming up at 10 a.m. on AM 970. The Answer.
970. Good morning, Joe Piscopo on the radio, AM 970, The Answer. A tough day in the United States of America after this mass shooting, but I welcome Arthur Idala to the studio. I just want to, Arthur, great, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Usually we come in here and we joke around and all that, but you can't do that today. Just now, Linda's walking out, and I know her husband. Her husband went to law school with my father, so I literally know him my whole life. Yeah. And I said, how's he doing? He goes, she goes, the problem with him is he's always happy. And he is. That's Sid David. And I try to live my life like being grateful and counting.
Love that about you.
But, last night before I went to bed to prepare for today, I went online, and there was a profile of many of the people who were killed. Yeah. And, man, it's heart-wrenching. 23 years old, 27 years old, 29 years old. And not to make a stupid Joe Piscopo marriage joke, but there was one woman who was killed. Her husband last year forgot their wedding anniversary. I'm thinking, well, if you're Piscopo and you got 6 wedding anniversaries, it's maybe it could slip your mind. But I know that wasn't the case here. So for this year's wedding anniversary, he brought his wife to Vegas.
Saw that story
for the show.
Saw that story.
I mean, wow. And when you extrapolate out the 59 people who were killed, the 500 people who are injured, and then all the people affected by that, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of lives where, you're going to a show, you're going to a concert. It's not like, he decided to jump off there. They decided to jump out of a plane for their wedding anniversary and the parachute didn't go off. All right, you in the law, you call it assuming the risk. But, man, and then last night I'm in the city and the Katy Perry's paying at the Garden. At the Garden. Al, you would think that, the president was there. I mean, there were thousands of police officers, thousands of police officers surround because you're worried about copycats. And I applaud the White House in saying this is not time for politics. This is not time for an argument about gun control.
He's Italian, Frankie. He's gonna hit. He's gonna hit the board. He's gonna hit the board.
It makes sense.
But I do the same thing. We're Italian. We use our hands. And we always got to bump like that.
Yeah, I mean, especially
because he's afraid if he uses his hands forward towards you, you might feel that's threatening.
That might be
attacked. It's like the Ayatollah.
Morano, Idala, Piscopo, and Gattulo. Not enough Italians in one room. And Rock Positano's going to call in. Dr. Rock's going to call in.
I got back from Italy. Yeah. I was there this past week.
Did you? I'm so sorry.
It was heaven on earth.
Welcome home, man.
It was heaven on earth.
Listen, and again, thank you for, first of all, addressing the victims because I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to lay on this too much. 745 with Joe on the radio. It's when you think the caliber of those bullets and going through and forgive me, it's so early in the morning, ripping through the bodies, and then loved ones right next to them like that.
Yeah,
you just
brothers
can't
and sisters talking about losing
May this
siblings.
cockroach slug, I don't want to hear mental illness, I don't want to hear anything. May he rot in hell, God forgive me, may he burn in hell. This
one
son
guy,
of a
2 best friends went, and one says how his friend died in his arms. I'm not making light. I mean, Al and I went to go see U2. Not whatever.
Yeah,
Before